He's really upset. He's going to do war with Nabal. Now, that's kind of a hormone-driven response on David's side. I mean, that's probably not the wisest thing to do, but he's very impulsive, too, in how he relates to this total flat-out insult. But Abigail is very interesting what her reaction is. What's her first reaction? She grabs like some coolers, she fills them with beer, she puts prime rib and, I don't know, bratwurst or whatever the kind of man food you can think of, and, a couple 100 tons of brownies, and then she gets herself all dressed up in a mini skirt and, obviously not quite that way, but I mean, what happened? It's kind of the equivalent, and she goes up to the famous warlord David, and the first thing she does is she just throws herself on her face right in front of him and says, "It's all my fault." Is it her fault? Do we often have to take the fault? Okay, just thought I'd point that out. I think also that she's probably not getting along too well with her husband. How do we know that? She doesn't tell him. How'd you like to be married to Nabal? And you get this feel that not only Abigail, but all the servants are sick of Nabal. So it's kind of like it's this conspiracy between Abigail and the servants, and you have this big caravan, and she throws herself at David's feet, and lo and behold, she manages to get the job done. I mean, she manages to stop his anger. Because what does he say? "Blessed are you, and thank you for stopping me, because I probably wouldn't have been too happy if I'd gone in and annihilated this whole, it wouldn't have been the righteous thing to do." And she says, "Yes, the Lord has kept you. The Lord through me, through my advice, through my counsel, has kept you from doing such a silly thing." So it kind of enumerates all the wealth of Nabal, because then she goes home. I love this part. She goes home and she says, "And Abigail came to Nabal, and lo, he was holding a feast in his house," and he was basically drunker than a skunk. And he gets up the next morning, he's totally hungover. And she told him nothing at all until the morning light. And in the morning, you can just see her there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And his head is out to here. He's not even conscious. And in the morning, when the wine had gone out of Nabal, his wife told him these things, and his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. It's like she's almost timed it. I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him good. Right when he's, And she goes in and she tells him, "You did what?" But it's very clear from the text that he dies of natural causes. I mean, he has a heart attack or apoplexy or whatever, which, if he was, kind of holding those feasts and waking up drunk a lot, maybe he kind of was putting himself in that situation anyway. It does say, "And the Lord smote Nabal." We can imply that the Lord used a natural occurrence to remove a very inconvenient fool and to leave all his riches that go to his beautiful, cute, young, clever, what else did I miss? Smart widow. And what does David do? Snaps her up, right? Oh, a beautiful, rich, clever, young widow. Whatever should we do? And so he decides he's going to marry Abigail, and he acquires all her property, all of Nabal's property. So that, that's an important detail, because that will kind of be one of the bases of his kind of claim later on to kingship, It also kind of, as a throwaway passage, mentions that he not only takes Abigail, verse 43, he takes Ahinoam of Jezreel, and both become his wives. So he's basically laying the foundation of his harem, like any good Oriental potentate. Now, was he supposed to do that? What was one of the Deuteronomic rules of kingship? What did it say? He had one wife. You don't multiply wives, right? Well, why was the reason for that? The idea was you didn't form a lot of political alliances with outlying kingdoms that would require you to take a daughter in exchange as wife in order to cement the alliance. which means, which goes to show you're not supposed to set yourself up as this big international king with all these political alliances, because you are supposed to rely on the Lord alone for, and not on your political alliances and your coalitions for guidance.